Got your cowbell going on there. What is up, guys? Welcome to Rockstar Nerds. I am Mighty Mike.
I'm Chris Noon.
I'm Michael Rohde.
I'm Maximus Moretta.
And today we have another special episode for you guys. My name is Earl, wants to finish his list. George Lucas wants to return to the Force. And Florida Man has a plan for world domination with turtles and much, much more. What's up, guys? How you guys doing?
I'm doing good. I just read this funny little thing through Facebook. You know how the beam's coming out?
Yeah.
What about him?
I can't read this one actually out loud.
Okay.
We're a PG podcast apparently. I can't even do PG-13 with this.
All right, so you guys are familiar with My Name is Earl, right?
Yeah. I've seen it in passing.
They were coming back, are they?
Yeah, well, Jason Lee's trying to get the show back started, which I think is really awesome. I think it was...
There's a lot of loose ends in the show.
Yeah, there had a lot of loose ends. Like, he had a list that he had to complete, and
they didn't complete it.
They didn't complete it, so, like...
I've never seen the show.
It got canceled prior.
Dude.
Yeah, dude.
About a guy named Earl.
Yeah.
Now, okay, so one of the main guys...
Does he win the lottery? Is that what it is?
Yeah, he wins the lottery.
Okay, that's what I thought it was.
And then he gets hit. He gets plowed by a car. And then he lost it, and then so as he's like in the hospital, he writes a list.
Is this like he died and it's a dream world?
No, you're way off, sir.
Are we on Lost?
Yeah, we're on Lost.
Okay, so run me back.
My
What's
name
the
is Earl. It's
synopsis?
not Lost.
Definitely.
All right, so the show is Jason Lee is a kind of a down luck out guy, and he finds out he gets hit by a car. Like
he finds out he hits the lotto.
He hits the lotto and he hits by a car, and then like someone tells him about karma, and then like all the bad things that you did in your life, you have to make up for it. So he creates a list
While in the hospital,
so he creates a list of all the bad things he's ever done, or all the people he's ever wronged, and so the whole show is about him going around helping people with
Making
the money
amends.
that he has. So like, and then if you look at the photo here, I'll put the photo up right here. You can see like it's a motley crew of just like misfits and all the good stuff. Now this particular guy, I don't know his name. He was in Power Rangers. He was
Tommy?
Tommy.
I don't know his real name. Tommy. I think Tommy's the ranger name.
No, he wasn't a ranger.
Tommy.
No,
is the
I
Green
think it was
Ranger.
the kid that was misbehaving.
He was one of the like the punk rock
bullies,
kids, the bullies.
Yeah.
The bigger guy. Can't think of his name.
That's not Tommy.
This guy right here.
Okay.
He was. Remember the Titans? He was
So
in that.
remember
He was in,
Titans. He was.
He also played in.
Don't worry, we're gonna pull up his information like
Dang it.
somewhere on the
Yeah,
screen.
somewhere on the screen. But he's ripped now.
That's what I was gonna say. Like he posted a picture,
ripped. And he's got his own podcast about being healthy now. Oh,
yeah, so
God,
he has his own
give me a second.
podcast, and so like I'm dying over here. Throughout his entire movie career, he's always been like a bigger guy, and now like when he posts pictures, he's like this giant.
I know you're talking about the big fat guy.
And so like now he wants to come back, or they want to come back with the show. So like, how are they gonna explain?
Ethan Suplee.
Yeah, so how are they gonna explain the fact that he's
he
all
was a
ripped or something?
Yeah,
else?
look at that.
Big boy.
He was a big boy. Now he's freaking jacked.
Let me see. Because like if anything, they could just draw it into the story. Oh wow, that's a very big difference.
So
Yeah,
he and I can't remember who it is, his brother or whatnot, but they started just recently started a podcast about being healthy and everything and going through the mental of it all and whatnot. And I haven't gotten a chance to listen to it, but I'm on this guy's side all day.
So what about like My Name is Earl coming back? Like how is that going to influence us in this day and age? Like what makes us different there?
It's an awesome show, sir.
But, I mean, it's subjected to the writers.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It puts Jason Lee back into prime time at least.
Gotcha.
Maybe
All
he
right.
can come back in like a Netflix special type way.
I hear you.
It seems like Netflix is all about saving shows, and so is
They
Amazon
are, and
Prime.
I can appreciate
Yeah,
that. Like,
absolutely
I really
that,
appreciate
too.
that.
I don't appreciate them
Which one are
taking
they?
off Archer, though.
They're taking off The Office too, aren't they?
No, it's not that.
Well,
it's
that's
not
like
to
that was
them, though.
talked about, but then they were like, nope, never mind.
Well, that's all
Yeah.
licensing. That's
Yeah.
the agreement that they have with the companies that actually create the IP. Like you have to sit there and like you have to pay for that. And if you get a license, it's only 2 years, then it's only gonna be on for 2 years.
Netflix
Like,
doesn't have LimeWire.
I guess not, but yeah. So I'm super excited about this. Like I thought it was good. It ended in 2009, which is a decade ago.
Yeah,
That's
11
crazy.
years
That's
ago.
crazy to say.
Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't bomb like Double Tap.
What was
Double
Double
Tap.
Tap?
Double Tap, Zombieland.
Oh, Zombieland. I love
'Cause
Zombieland.
I love Zombieland too, but you wait a decade to start something back up. It's like, really?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Toy Story.
So yeah,
Toy
But
Story's
Toy Story has a
making them
following,
better.
though.
Ethan Suplee.
People rewatch Toy
Ethan
Story all the
Suplee.
time.
His podcast is called American Glutton.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that'll be good to watch or listen to.
He
But
just
yeah.
started it. Good for him.
Is that the girl from Game of Thrones? What's she doing on there?
No, that's
A different article.
that's an ad.
That's
Oh, okay.
wait,
It's like, wait a minute.
That's the clickbait. That's
Margaret
That's
Robbie.
not no.
Margot
Margaret
Robbie.
Robbie.
That's
no,
not
that's
Margot
Jamie Lee
Robbie.
Presley.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, way off.
Yeah. Hey, you're off balls by a decade in age. Margot Robbie's a little younger than her.
Couple of decades.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
Yeah, so like I don't know when they're gonna actually be bringing this back, but they're in talks of doing it and something on like Netflix, streaming service, or something along that. So I mean, I think that'd be interesting. I think it'd be really cool.
Yep.
So yeah. Now,
Let's see what else we got.
so George Lucas.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys seen the recent Star Wars
No.
controversy? I know you guys are gonna be screaming in the comment section. down
I
below.
don't watch Star Wars.
I love Star Wars.
I don't.
I hated the most recent one. I
A
hated
lot of
all
people are
them.
giving
I've
crap
heard a
about
lot
it.
of that.
Yeah, all the Star Wars fans are saying that, and I don't think you're ever gonna be happy again. So
No, you're never gonna,
enjoy your book.
You know what? I think you're right about that.
They're never gonna be happy
I
again.
think that's
Just
what
enjoy
they're
your
betting on now.
books.
That's the whole. That's the whole.
No,
play.
okay, so I disagree that you're never gonna be happy again because when
Do you like the
you
Mandalorian?
look at the Mandalorian.
Okay.
The Mandalorian is one of those Star Wars IPs that was done right. It exists within the universe. It makes sense. Has all the characters fleshed out with the
So nothing
trilogies.
like real Star Wars.
Yeah, no, like exactly. The trilogy was just a garbage mess, like all the way through. It's Disney trying to put their spin on things.
Yeah.
Then you have the directors trying to put their own spin on things. Like,
Yep.
and I get what J.J. Abrams was trying to do. Like, I didn't like The Force Awakens because it was just like kind of like a repeat. Like they were bringing back too many similarities and not creating
Yeah.
anything new. But then you had Rian Johnson come in for The Last Jedi and kind of jack it up. And what it reminded me of is like, imagine you being the older brother and you have the science project and you're like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. And then you turn off the light, you go to bed, you're gonna like showcase your thing at the science fair tomorrow. Then your little brother comes in and like just jacks up everything. And it just like makes a complete mess of the whole situation. And then you wake up and you're sitting there like, oh my God, what do I have
Still
to
gotta
do?
turn it in.
See, well,
I still turn it in.
well,
So
here's the thing. I was the little brother.
yeah. So
Never
he had,
experienced that.
So
I know what you're talking about.
what was the last one? The Rise of the Skywalker. So this one was literally J.J. Abrams, presenting his science fair project that's been messed up by Rian Johnson to everybody, and everybody was like, "Sorry, bro, like this is horrible." Yeah.
Dang.
I don't know.
But so people will be happy if it's done right.
Oh, okay.
And that's
so
what
the-
we were talking about last time. Remember, I said like I'm okay with experimenting within the universe because Star Wars fans are going to enjoy it. They're going to love Star Wars regardless, and
That's
they're
what
going
the
to watch it
Mandalorian-
and they're going to love it.
Mandalorian's
They're going to hate
experiment.
it. But guess what? When the next movie comes out, well, I guess I'll go see it.
Yeah, but I'm not a Star Wars fan, so I can't speak to it. Like I'm always being the devil's advocate when like a universe gets too big. It's just things have to live and die. Star Wars, according to Disney, is never gonna die, and everybody's gonna keep doing stuff. And
Well, yeah,
they keep
man, they now have
evolving,
the
and
rights.
it's
They
like-
just paid a lot of money. It's like, well, we
Yeah.
got to make some money back,
Well,
guys.
they
This
spent
is going to
$4
be.
billion.
Yeah, so they're
Disney,
gonna.
Disney bought it. It's not dying, even
It's
if it wants
not
to die.
dying ever.
No way.
No.
If anything's going to go
Like-
into the vault.
Yeah, and then on top of that, they'll turn around
back
and
out
they'll
with some
push the
true,
what is it the public
In-brain streaming
domains.
service in 10
The
years.
public domain years back further, because at one point in time, like anything that was above 100 years, like that was fine, and they would get into public domain. But according to Disney, when Mickey was supposed to come out to public domain, Disney lobbied to Congress or whoever decided to make that law, pushed it back another 100 years. So Mickey cannot go into public domain because Disney's constantly going to be pushing back.
Well, they
What
also
do you
fought-
mean by that? Can you break down public domain, please?
All right, so copyright law, one of the stipulations back in the day was like, and then they kept increasing. Like in the Constitution, it allows the Congress to come up with, certain protector IP, like how long they get protections for. In the beginning, it was 14 years. So if you wrote a book, you had 14 years where that was yours, and then it would enter public domain, which means anybody can use it. You can literally slap your name onto it.
without having to pay for it.
Yeah, exactly. Then they slowly started increasing it over time, and the big increase was with Disney. And one of the things that they changed the law was it became 75 years after the author had died. So a lot of books that are written back in like the early 1800s are now going into public domain because the author has passed away. Disney fought and said, since we're the owners and the publishers of it,
And we're not an actual person.
and we're immortal, so
We're
you never
immortal.
die. And so they've always had to go back to extend it because if it ever goes to court and the courts rule not in their favor, then it's
Loophole.
Yeah.
loophole.
But then the
appeal
thing
for
is, funny thing is, all of like Disney classic characters are all public domain characters to begin with. All the princesses and all that other stuff, outside of the ones they've created themselves. So you're talking about like, you know, like the Brothers Grimm original princesses and stuff like that. That's why you find like a lot of like, you know, the Witcher and the Huntsman and all that other stuff. Like those were public domain characters, and they are public domain characters. So like if you want to make like a Sleeping Beauty that's yours with a different spin on it, you can make it yours.
Yeah, that's what they did with
you have to do with the
Snow
Brothers
White
Grimm.
and the Huntsman.
Yeah,
but yeah, because it's off of the Brothers Grimm, which is way better version.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
But getting back, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, I lost it.
It's gone.
Yeah, you just gotta interrupt, bro.
We're gonna
George Lucas and Star Wars.
The rumor has it that George Lucas is going to be returning to the franchise, but only on one condition.
What?
Is that he has full control.
Okay.
The reason why J.J.
Creatively.
Abrams and Ryan Johnson had issues is because you had the executives in Disney all up their butts, like telling them like, "Oh no, we should do this, you should do that."
Yeah,
blah, blah,
the
blah.
creative
Too
control.
many
Yeah, man,
cooks
like-
in the kitchen.
But the thing is, with the Mandalore, they saw firsthand like what happens when you give a certain franchise or a certain aspect of the franchise to someone who's a fan. Is what's his name? Favreau?
John Favreau.
Jeff Favreau? I can't even say it.
John Favreau.
John Favreau is a huge fan of the series. He's also done, the Marvel. He's the one who started the Marvel universe with Iron Man 1. But he's a huge fan of Star Wars, and so they gave him complete control. And I think is the reason why they gave him complete control with the Mandalore is because it was going on Disney Plus, and they were just like, we have the franchise, the main vehicle of our IP, which is the movies. And this is kind of just like a side project. We're not going to worry about it. But it turns out like everybody loves that one more. So it kind of hit him from the side like, hey, maybe we should walk out of here. But recently, I forgot her name, the CEO of Lucasfilm, she's saying going forward, they're not going to do the trilogy series anymore. They're just going to do standalone movies. So we're, the trilogy
I would have been about that trilogy.
Well, because they're sitting there saying that they can't pull it off. And I'm just like,
It's $4 million an episode.
well, no, they're saying I'm not talking about the trilogy of the Mandalore. I'm talking about like
I know, like just if you're in that.
The 3 trilogy part stuff. The reason why they're not doing it is because they think they can't pull it off. It's like no, because you keep interfering and you keep switching directors, especially with like people like Ryan Johnson who want to put their own spin on everything. And then you got J.J. Abrams who's too afraid to take any chances. Then you have Ryan Johnson who takes too many damn chances, and he's over here in left field doing something completely different.
Yep.
So yeah, he needs full control in order to come back, and I think that's kind of like him just sitting there and going like, "Hey,
I think he's gonna try to flex his muscles.
Yeah,
Now-
hey,
now
thanks for the $4 billion, but if you want me to save it, come pay me."
Now does that? Now if he comes back and just puts out a dud,
He's done.
what does that do?
He's done.
Because then it's not
I don't-
J.J. Abrams messed it up, Brian Johnson messed it up. Then it's
I
everybody
don't know.
messed it up.
I think
George Lucas
I think
messed it
he
up.
would blow people's minds if he was given complete
Well,
creative
He
control.
did put out, the early
The originals.
prequels.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, who
He put out the
created it?
originals, but then he also put out the prequels, so
Yeah.
he's 50-50.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, he's not. Everyone's
Wait,
still holding on from
he
the
was
beginning, but
he was given complete control of episode 1, 2, and 3.
That's when he owned Lucasfilm. Like episodes 1, 2, and 3 were like early 2000s.
Right.
That's
that was
before
his money
Disney,
grab
yeah.
after he started to run
Well,
out of stuff
the
from
thing
the
is,
70s.
we can sit here today, many years later, and bash the crap out of those films.
I like them.
I actually
But when they
liked them.
came
I
out, they
actually
were
like 'em,
awesome.
yeah.
I thought they were awesome.
They
Yeah,
were
the-
awesome. So
the biggest-
giving him the technology today with the, I think he's going to do a great job.
All right.
I think the biggest problem with like a lot of people is that they start to overanalyze certain movies, and one of the things that they hate the most about the prequels, they're like, "Oh, the politics." I'm like, politics-wise, there's probably like 10 minutes in all 3 movies where you saw a bunch of senators, and it's like, "Oh my god, the politics," like, and they're sitting there debating. But that was the whole point. Like, you had this dude who was coming in,
It's a war.
taking over
It's
from
all
the
politics.
inside, and they had to show that process. But people were just like, "No, I just want laser battles and gunfights going off." Yeah. You know who wants to make a comeback? Now that we're on the subject of comebacks,
Go ahead.
Mel Gibson and Danny Glover
Excuse me.
want to return for
Lethal Weapon 5.
Yes. I thought he was too old for this shit.
They look too old.
You're breaking your own cardinal rule.
Yeah. Well, we said at the beginning I cursed too much.
So yeah, I think they're too old for it, but it'll be good. Like if they can storybook it, like just go ahead and storybook
Do
it,
it.
like the
Do it.
original. Try to
Dude,
find.
I grew up to those movies.
I would
That is my
definitely wanna
generation
watch
right
it.
there.
I think-
Generation action heroes right there.
You know what it is? I think that Bad Boys for Life has opened the gates
I can't
for
wait for it.
buddy cop comedies to come back. So like Bad Boys for Life came out. Now Lethal Weapon wants to come
How
out.
did that do?
And then I think it's doing pretty good.
Wait,
I
it's
don't-
already out?
Yeah.
I thought it was.
It's like last Friday, bro.
Oh.
It came out.
Dude,
but
I gotta
like,
check that.
Bad Boys for Life has opened the gates back up for buddy comedy movies coming back.
I feel like
so
they didn't hype it enough.
if they bring back them, they could probably do which one was it with Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker?
Rush Hour.
Rush Hour.
If they could close Rush Hour,
I think they
that'd
actually
be-
asked Jackie Chan if he was gonna do any of those, and I think he said that they
I
can't
think
do
it's
it
done.
anymore. Yeah,
No?
they're done with those.
Okay.
Oh God, that was a great.
He needs to
movie,
bring back
too.
the Shanghai Nights. That was that one.
Oh, there's another one that can come.
You know what's
back.
funny about that whole
Owen Wilson.
the whole Rush Hour is that Jackie Chan barely speaks any English whatsoever. So they would purposely make him say like different words, and, like during his lines.
Yeah.
And he had no idea.
I
Like,
was
he would run around like,
hot.
"Give me the cheddar."
Dude, he still does all of his own stunts.
Yeah.
Isn't it great?
Incredible.
Yeah, I saw his last movie, like parts of it. I barely remember it, but
Foreigner?
was it The Foreigner where he plays like a mechanic or something, and he's like an older man that loses his daughter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Foreigner. He was like an ex
Yeah.
military,
Yeah,
and
in
one
his
night he
country.
comes in, he's like, "Who got my dollar?"
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And he just like wreaks havoc across the Britain, I think it was. But,
Yeah, I
God.
definitely want to rewatch that movie.
Me too.
Yeah, because that's good. But yeah, Lethal Weapon is coming back though.
I cannot wait.
Yeah,
I will be the
supposedly-
first one to jump on board on that.
Yeah, supposedly,
I'll jump on that train.
You know, after 30 years after the franchise's first installment, producers Dan Lee confirmed that Lethal Weapon 5 is close to happening. So
Wait a
basically-
minute.
How old is Danny Glover now?
Wait a
He's
minute.
got to be in
He's
his
old.
late 70s, early 80s.
Wait a minute. I think I've seen in passing. Did somebody see it? Did somebody else see it? It
Gotta be
was
82. I'm thinking 82.
Die Hard was coming
73.
back,
Wow,
or they're
yeah.
trying to bring Die Hard back. Did somebody?
Die Hard?
They've done.
They done it like what?
They've done
Yes,
like
they have.
5 now?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. The last two were like, or the last one was horrible.
Like Live
Which
Free
one?
or Die Hard or something.
No,
like
no,
that?
Live Free or Die Hard was
That
actually
one
pretty
was
good.
actually really good.
That one was actually pretty good. Like I would say everything before Live Free and Die Hard has been good, and Live Free and Die Hard was good. The last one where
It's
his
like
son
Die
was
Harder
older,
or something.
Die Harder. That was
It was
bad.
totally, it was pretty
Yeah,
bad.
It was so
5.
bad.
A Good Day to Die Hard. That
Um,
was the last one, 2013.
Yes, a good
That was
day
the
to
fifth
that one was bad.
That was horrible. It was a horrible movie. You know why it was a horrible movie? Because I tried to watch it 5 times and fell asleep.
Dang.
Fell asleep.
asleep?
5 times.
During
Watched-
explosions and everything.
everything.
Bad.
It was
must
so
have been
bad.
It was him and his son, right?
Yeah, it was him and his older son, and I'm like, oh.
Well,
my
I think
God.
they were trying to pass the torch in that situation. Like
Yeah.
they had a younger guy who's going to be
Yeah.
the son.
Well, also
Take
the
it over.
action sequences just got so far fetched. Like
Yes.
I'm gonna jump across this falling bridge and just slide
That's where they
down
kind of
and
lost me. in
not
Uh,
get road
Free Die
burn or
Hard.
road rash.
No, they
you
were.
know who's gone that direction like hardcore? Fast and the Furious.
Oh yeah.
Ah,
How do you get a
yeah.
bunch of like street
It
racers?
went from like street racers to like now we're
To, like, special
international special ops forces.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, with cars.
And all
Yeah.
and they like accomplish everything with their cars.
put a Lamborghini in and we're good. That's
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah,
Right.
they're doing everything, and it's just like,
It's crashed through
man,
buildings.
how far have they come?
I remember I had a military instructor. He was like, "What superhero would you be?" It was like, "I would be Dominic Toretto." What other man do you see that can fly across 2 bridges and catch somebody on against the windshield and be perfectly okay? He's like, "Yeah, that's my guy." I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Okay." Very corny, but yeah.
yeah,
All right.
definitely.
Yeah, I like Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel.
He owns the rights to Fast Furious,
Yeah, of
and
course.
he's one of the most wealthiest.
Yeah, of course.
of-
He's a producer, director, and all that stuff.
did
Like,
a lot
he's,
of
Well,
stuff.
he's
There's
been
another
doing a lot of
Fast
They got
Fast
stuff.
into a
coming
fight
out.
with The Rock, like him and The Rock.
Oh, they
I
did.
don't-
Oh, yeah, they
I
actually
don't
had
know
a
how much that
feud.
is just like publicity.
apparently on
publicity,
the last movie, like they got to the point where they wouldn't even be like in scenes together.
yeah, they're not on
They
set.
had to like rewrite a couple.
They would cut.
Like, yeah, they'd cut.
They
and,
cut
like,
different
rewrite it.
angles just to
Wow.
make you look like they're in the
That
same
re-
room, but they're not.
That reminds me of was it Blade 3? Where
Oh yeah, he
Blade
would hang
Trinity.
up like stickers, be like, "I'm Blade."
No, he
like-
was essentially he wouldn't show for his scenes.
Yeah,
Who,
So, like,
Wesley Snipes?
Wesley
Yes.
Snipes.
Blade 3.
So,
Trinity.
He
Ryan
showed up on
Reynolds-
his accord.
Isn't that when he was like on drugs?
no.
I don't know what he was on.
No, he was evading.
He was
the
on
IRS.
tax. Yeah,
He
he
was
was on
evading
tax.
the
That's what he
IRS. The IRS is in town. I gotta go.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But every scene that Ryan Reynolds was in when he was talking to him, Ryan Reynolds in an interview was just like, "Nah, that was me talking to the producer or director." You know, like he would never show up for his lines. Like he would never. He was just like, "Man, I'm done."
Well, that's why you usually get stand-ins.
Yeah, but
Like-
the
Well,
thing-
that's it.
well-
That standing was the director. But the thing is, like, he was supposed to be in that scene.
yeah, it got to a point where like I think there's pros and cons to both of that because I actually did watch the whole like like I've done a lot of research when it came to Blade because he was what a lot of people consider to start off the whole Marvel Universe franchise was the Blade movies. They were talking about how like Marvel was supposed to go into bankruptcy and all that other stuff, and everything happened. And then Blade came along, and they were like, let's give this a try. And that's when the movie started. That's when the Marvel Universe started for real. Like, yeah, Iron Man started the MCU, but Blade started the comic book movies all over again. And what they said was that by Blade 3, they tried to see if they would do Ryan Reynolds and Whistler's Daughter and have a spinoff from there and kind of like do some kind of like crazy stuff. But then it would ended up being that like Blade Trinity wasn't about Blade. You know what I mean? Like where Blade 1 and 2 was
Dracula.
Yeah. Like it, and then it was that. So like Wesley Snipes really lost favor for the movie. Like he lost control of the production, he lost favor of the movie, and he really wasn't. He didn't want to be there anymore.
So
like,
it sounds like he didn't want to be there.
No, he didn't. He really didn't want to be there. And they talk about like, who is it? Pat Oswalt, like the comedian, the guy that he was supposed to be like the brains of the operation in the movie. He said that it got to a point where Blade would hand out sticky notes of like what he didn't or didn't want to do with like the director or the cast and be like, sign Blade. He was like, here's a sticky note. This is what I want to do. Sign Blade. And then that was the whole interaction. So yes and no. I see where like the pros and cons, like, yeah, you know, moving forward. But at the same time, like you completely change the character's whole universe and they don't get to be themselves anymore.
You ever seen Apocalypse Now?
No.
Marlon Brando did something similar to that, like where he was supposed to show up and he was supposed to be like this young, fit, like army commander. And when he showed up on set, he was like overweight.
Yeah.
And so when they shot his scenes, he was always in like dark corners.
Yeah.
Like hiding his body on some of this. He refused to do a lot of things.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
So
yeah,
there looks like there is,
there's actors who do that.
according to MovieWeb, there is supposed to be a new Blade coming out in 2021.
Oh yeah, that's what the dude.
Marcella Ali.
Mhm.
I think he's so.
He was in Moonlight. Remember Moonlight, the movie that came out about the black guy that was like they're talking about like his masculinity and him being gay and all that other stuff. He was in Moonlight. He's the father. He's the stepfather or the guy that played the father figure in Moonlight. He's also been, if anybody's seen Akita, the last one, the last Akita movie, the whatever that thing is.
Yeah, he was also in during the segregation times. It was the Green Book or something like that.
Yes, he was in the Green Book.
No, the Green Mile.
the Green Book.
The Green Book. With,
he's the artist in the Green Book. Yeah, he's the black guy.
He's the black guy
in the Green Book.
The Green Book. Oh man, that was good. Who was the other person?
What? Hugo Weaving's in the Green Book as well. He was the driver.
Oh, he's Luke Cage.
Yeah. Luke Cage and what?
Oh.
That's what I'm like. I know who he is.
Luke Cage?
Yeah, Luke Cage.
No, he's not Luke Cage.
He's not Luke Cage.
He's not
He's
Luke
in
Cage.
Luke Cage.
He's in Luke Cage. He's
in
the
Luke Cage.
He's the antagonist in Luke Cage. He's
Yeah, he's the bad guy.
Yeah.
He's Iron.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the bad guy in Luke Cage. That's the guy that they're gonna use to play
Okay.
Blade in the MCU.
That makes. I mean,
You know.
kind of looks like Wesley Snipes.
Yeah. So like, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure he looks like he could easily.
He can do it. I don't doubt it. The one thing that I would give to Wesley Snipes that a lot of artists doesn't have is that Wesley Snipes is a black belt in multiple martial arts.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like you can't.
fighter.
He is
Yeah,
a
you
legit
can't.
fighter.
You can't fake that.
Oh yeah. Okay.
When
I don't have a computer, so
when I
I'm
looked
doing
up his
everything by
picture, I knew
manual.
exactly who he was.
He always plays like
Yeah.
a bad guy for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's. I think he would do a really good job. Give him about. I'd say about 20 pounds of muscle. He'd be badass.
He'll be all right. I don't doubt it. It's probably not going to be as physical as the Wesley Snipes rendition of it. So
Nah,
I don't
it
doubt-
won't be.
You know what I mean? Like
Let's just have him like walking around in a trench coat and a sword.
just
Doing
That's
like
how all
those,
the movies
those
are now,
close cut scenes where they're fighting, like shaking a lot. Like,
yeah.
Blade was
probably
awesome
that.
though.
all those movies now, like they don't even. The action's not.
It's
the
a
big,
lot
it's
of
all the
cutscenes.
corny humor. That's where they're.
That's
big.
why I think that who was it
All
that
the
did
Marvel
that
movies.
brought it back? John Wick, like like the long steady
long
shot,
takes?
like
Yeah.
that. If you could
Long
do that
fight
with
sequences.
yeah,
Now I will say, okay, so the last John Wick Paradigm or Parabellum.
yeah,
My brother and I, we love this series, so we go out to check him out all the time.
yeah,
We started noticing like they're doing those long shots and
Yeah.
those long takes,
yeah.
and we started noticing a lot of times that like the little mess ups that they're doing.
Uh huh.
There was a scene in there where like when they're fighting with the knives and
Yeah.
like the I guess
Oh, in the
yeah,
hallway,
knives.
in the
Yeah,
hallway, yeah.
They're surrounded by
And-
knives. And
he puts up his arms to block a kick before
Yeah.
the even kick came out of
Yeah.
nowhere. And a lot of it was like a little off, a little slow.
okay.
You
Yeah.
can see that where
they
Keanu
probably did it
Reeves-
like 10 times, and he's a little tired.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves was kind of like stiff a little bit. He was trying to you could tell he was anticipating a lot of
But
stuff.
a lot of people love that because even though there are little slip ups, there's a
It
human
looks real,
element.
It's real, yeah.
It's real.
Like I said, they're
real
not doing
time.
that like shaky camera. Like
Yeah,
all
Jason
over your
Bourne, headache driven freaking
face. Oh my god,
sequences.
he's like walking down the street and the camera's shaking.
I know.
Like he cannot walk. Like leave him alone.
Yeah, and
Go ahead.
oh my god,
You're having a brain.
John Wick,
John Wick.
Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
Jesus. He's even said that I'm willing to do as many. I read that he said he was willing to do as many John Wicks as the people wanted.
What?
Yeah.
That's
He's all about it.
amazing.
Dude,
He's
he's
all
a
about
man.
it.
He loves it.
Keanu
He's
Reeves
such a
might be the
human-
most. He might
humble.
have come up as like the most lovable actor I've seen in the past like year or
Yeah.
two. Just like a social media. It's like this weird cult following. And he's a great guy.
He's
don't get
always
me
been
wrong,
that
but
way,
He just
though.
kind of. He's always been a nice guy, but just it seemed like he just came out of the fold from these John Wick movies. At, like somewhere new.
I think that like that's just been his thing. Like it's not new because like you could go back years.
Recognized. Well,
You-
yeah, it's not new. Like he just didn't turn a new
Yeah.
leaf.
Well, what I'm
like
saying
it's
is-
just getting recognized.
Exactly. I would say
Yeah, I
that.
think
and
if you
light's
go
being
back
brought to it.
before the internet made him a meme,
Yeah.
That's a yeah.
the biggest criticism was that he had a lack of acting range.
Yeah.
It's the same
Yeah.
role every character.
He was like, whoa, you know? And so he just became like this lovable person over time, and he's done
Trying
a lot
to
of
work
good
your way out
movies.
of frame.
My
Yeah,
chair.
there we
Yeah,
go.
I just messed up my chair.
But I think like the other thing that would add to that would be that I think he's growing up. Like he's growing into himself and he's growing into being the older guy because like if you look at John Wick, he really doesn't talk a lot. Like you know what I mean? Like John Wick is an older
That was some
tough
of his
guy.
best lines.
Yeah,
Like
he's
remember
good
when
lines.
in the very first one,
Yeah.
like the Russian was like talking to him. She's like, "That's not revert to our primitive times," and he's just like, "Click."
Yeah.
Didn't say a word.
You know, so it ends up being that. Like I think that certain actors, like you got to look at people and you got to appreciate actors at their certain ages because there's some actors that don't start acting until later in their life. Who was Morgan Freeman? Probably didn't start acting until like
Morgan Freeman started at like 65, and he's still at 65. Like, he hasn't aged at all.
you know, he was one of those. It's like Driving Miss Daisy was like his first role or something like that.
He's one of the
Don't quote me,
smoothest
though.
people I've ever seen in my
Who?
life. Morgan Freeman.
Is one of the what?
He's the smoothest people. I don't know if you guys know, but a couple years back he was one of our presenters for the Olympic Committee.
Oh.
We tried to get the Olympics back in America.
Uh-huh.
He actually he accidentally turned a page like on his speech and was completely reading. It was like one of those things that you would just see. It would just break somebody. I mean, you're speaking
Yeah.
in front of the entire world.
Yeah.
And he just casually went, just flipped my page, went back, and just played it off like the smoothest.
I can see
it was
that,
just
just like-
Morgan Freeman. It was like only
Like,
Morgan Freeman could do that.
well, looks like
It was incredible.
Skip my
In his voice, and it's like it sounded like it was supposed to happen.
I wish I
Like,
had that rasp.
I'm now narrating your voice.
Yeah, Morgan Freeman's on my
Ever.
ways, so he takes
Even
like
Family
turn
Guy.
left
You know,
here.
you know who's old, but you don't think of as being old? Samuel Jackson.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That
Like, Yeah, so dude, when
how
I
old is-
watched,
he's like, what the hell is he? Like 60,
nah.
I forgot how old he is.
50?
He's old. He's
Everybody has a phone and technology in front of them, and we can't figure out how old Samuel Jackson
Well, that's
is.
why we're pulling it up, sir.
exactly Samuel.
Alexa.
Alexa.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Hey,
that'd
Google,
be cool. We
how old-
definitely need a
How old is Samuel L. Jackson?
He's 71.
That's insane.
whoa.
Yeah. So when I was watching Captain Marvel, and he's like running in those scenes of this, you could tell that he's just like, damn it,
Wow, let's kind of go through this.
71.
So here's some other people. Denzel Washington is
I don't know.
65.
65.
Jamie Foxx is 52. Will Smith is 51. John Turturro is 65. Bruce Willis 64. Lawrence Fishburne is 58.
Those
Oh
are
my God! All
everybody-
these people we
Everyone
grew up
Everyone we
with.
love.
Everyone we love is getting
It's
home.
old. We need new actors.
Well, we have new actors.
We have plenty of new.
Yeah, we have
actors.
plenty
We
of
just
new
don't like them
We
actors.
have
yet.
great.
Like, think
new
about it, like
actors.
as we get older, we're gonna be those people who are just like, oh, you remember Dean Cain or not Dean Cain?
Dean Cain.
Remember
No,
Ryan
he's
Reynolds?
talking about
No one knows
Dean.
Dean
Dean.
Cain.
No, I know who you're talking
Uh,
about. It's not Dean Martin, right? It's Dean something.
yeah, the guy who died in the car accident.
Yeah, I know who
Yeah.
you're talking about. He
James
played it.
Dean?
James Dean.
Oh my
You know,
God.
people were like, "Oh, remember James Dean?" And we're just like sitting there, like, "Nah, I don't know what that is."
Actually-
we're gonna be 70 and be like, "You remember Samuel Jackson?" And our kids are gonna be laughing at us. because
We're going
just
off
doing
topic,
stupid
but
things.
guess what? They're actually trying to computer animate James Dean into a movie.
I did hear about that. It was
like
I
they're
did
bringing him
hear about
back,
that.
and I think they're talking to the estate and they're trying to get permissions
idea.
and all that other stuff. And
I
they're
So
don't
the
like that.
estate
I don't
gets
like
the
the
money,
idea.
right?
I don't know.
Yeah, because
I,
really
would
don't know.
imagine the estate's got to
it's
get
like
the money.
the Tupac hologram
I was gonna say
Yeah,
who,
who
who,
is the
yeah,
snare,
who,
right?
who pays
Couple
Tupac?
years.
I don't.
Because what
I don't know.
Tupac's in
Tupac ain't
hologram,
dead, I
Michael
knew it.
Jackson's in hologram,
That's
Freddie
that's-
Mercury's in hologram.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know who gets the money.
I
But yeah,
imagine the
I
estate
hope the
gets some.
estate gets the money because boy.
The Beatles.
Yeah. All right. On that note, we're going to go ahead and end this episode. I'm Monty Mike. We appreciate you guys listening to us. This is Rockstar News. If you
Nerds.
enjoy the show,
Other
nerds,
ones.
if
This
you
guy.
enjoy the show,
Lose your your news.
we have news
voice,
and
Scott.
nerds. This is Nerds. If you like the show, go ahead and hit subscribe, share it, hit that like button. It helps out the channel tremendously. I'm Monty Mike.
I'm Kristen.
I'm Michael Rohde. And
That's Max
isn't paying attention.
Moretta.
Max Moretta not paying attention. He's on his phone. That's how you get into car accidents.
He's
folks.
looking at those chickpeas.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, guys, we appreciate you guys watching and listening to us. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and leave them down in the comments down below. If you want us to cover a certain subject, we're all about it. All right. We'll see you guys in the next episode. What's up, Rockstars? I hope you guys enjoyed that video. And if you did, go ahead and click on the video right above me or to the side here so you guys can watch some more. Make sure you subscribe, like, and all that good stuff. And we'll see you guys in the next video.